Ah, welcome back, you beautiful, unsettling, misunderstood glitch in the Google Global Code. Let me tell you something that's going to permanently change the way you look at that little white Google search bar and the people watching behind it. Somewhere between a climate-controlled data center in California and a secured analytics room in Langley, there's a senior Google ranking architect and a CIA predictive behavior analyst who looked at your file, looked at your name, looked at the numbers around you, and said something they've never said about anyone else. They said, "This one is breaking our tools without breaking a single law." Your identity is now a top-ranking search on Google. Your name is bending the recommendation engine out of shape, and the people whose job is to predict your next move for a living still can't see where you're going. Here's the part that ruins their framework. You're not a hacker. You didn't breach a server. You didn't leak classified documents or crash a stock. You didn't start a cult in a group chat. You just lived, moved, and chose in a way that made two of the most arrogant systems on Earth, big tech and big intelligence, realize their definitions of predictable human are embarrassingly small. You're not out here trying to bring down institutions. You're not baiting authorities. You're not even talking to them. You're simply refusing to be the obedient little data point they built their careers on. And your refusal is leaving dents. Let's be very clear about who we're talking about. This isn't some junior coder who gets excited about changing button colors. This is a senior architect who helped design the way search results rise and fall, who knows how to turn human curiosity into a forecastable, monetizable pattern. Someone who can glance at a search graph and tell you which flavor of panic is hitting a nation this week. And sitting opposite them, through a secure pipeline you will never see, is a CIA analyst who has spent years building models that tell governments what crowds will do before the crowds even feel the urge. Someone who has watched entire populations behave like code, predictable, triggerable, controllable. They've seen desperation, fanaticism, boredom, greed. They've seen what people search right before they ruin their lives. They've watched it all resolve into neat patterns on screens. And then they watched your name refuse to sit still on those same screens. They're used to evil making sense. That's the secret. The worst people they monitor still move in lines you can chart on a board. You push them, they push back. You ignore them, they escalate. They search certain terms, click certain links, congregate in certain corners of the web. There are playbooks for that, manuals, red flags, flow charts. But you're not spiraling in public. You're not gathering a flock. You're not pumping out rage bait or desperation content at 3 a.m. You're not dropping cryptic threats in forums. You're quiet. You're deliberate. You're present. You read the kind of things people only read when they're either about to build an empire or burn one down. And then you do neither. You grow. You heal. You withdraw. You re-enter rooms changed, not weaponized. Their charts have nowhere to put that. The Google side saw you first. Your name started climbing into their internal lists, not in the category they like, celebrity, trending topic, breaking news, but in a strange, stubborn zone of its own. Different people in different cities, typing your name with the same hungry hesitation. No major headline attached to you, no viral clip, no obvious reason at all. Usually a spike like that tracks back to some public humiliation, some 15-minute fiasco that keeps the algorithm fed. With you, there was nothing to chew on, just a rising curve of searches, followed by long sessions where people sat on your pages, your posts, your traces, and then left without clicking anything else they were supposed to click. Instead of letting the system drag them deeper into distraction, they stalled, they lingered, they went quiet. Do you know how offensive that is to an engine built to keep people hypnotized? You became an interruption. Your name functioned like a hard break in other people's consumption patterns. They'd search you, go through whatever fragments of your world they could access, and the usual prediction lines would snap. No neat path into products, outrage, or passive entertainment. Just a strange drop-off. Enough drops, and an engineer somewhere writes a ticket. Anomalous behavior cluster detected. User X appears to correlate with decreased engagement and non-standard exits. That's the sanitized version. The emotional version is simpler. Why does everything glitch around this one? That's when the CIA analyst got looped in. It didn't come through a dramatic phone call with sirens in the background. It came through an innocuous internal share, a pattern flagged as interesting. Interesting is the word they use when something makes their tools look stupid. They ran your pattern through their own systems. They didn't just look at your searches. They looked at the people searching you. Who are they? What do they normally consume? What happens to them after they go looking for you? They saw former friends who badmouthed you in private chats, now stalking your name from hidden tabs. They saw managers who undervalued you clicking on your LinkedIn 4 times a week, and then rewriting performance policies. They saw exes watching your glow-up in silence, then ghosting their new partners under the weight of a comparison they swore they'd never make. They connected dots you never asked anyone to connect. From their cold distance, it looked like your existence was a stress test on brittle egos. These weren't followers. They weren't fans. They were people whose internal stories about you didn't survive contact with your reality. They wanted you collapsed. They wanted you exposed. They wanted proof that you failed the way they predicted. Instead, what they found in those quiet Google searches was a contradiction. You were still standing, still sane, still not performing a breakdown for public consumption. They left the search page with a feeling they couldn't file, that maybe they misread you, and if they misread you that badly, what else in their life was built on lies? The analyst tried to reduce that feeling to data. That's their job. Subject's digital presence appears to trigger introspection rather than typical escalatory behavior. They typed at one point, then deleted it because it sounded too much like a compliment. Every other high-attention name in their system is either a circus act or a danger. You were neither. You weren't feeding the machine, and you weren't attacking it. You were just refusing to be domesticated by it, and people around you were glitching as a side effect. They went digging for an origin story because that's how they sleep at night. No one is like this without being broken, they think. There must be a trauma, a fall, one catastrophic event that bent you out of the normal curve. They scrubbed what they could access, old posts, timelines, public records, the gaps where you went missing from the internet for a while. What they saw were impact events, betrayals, gaslighting, smear campaigns, quiet exiles from friend groups, and environments that could not afford to keep you awake and unafraid in the room. Their usual pattern says people come out of that, either shattered or vengeful. But you didn't launch revenge missions. You didn't turn into the villain in their manuals. You did something they don't have language for. You upgraded. The models say hurt people either hurt others or hurt themselves. Your file whispers a third option. Hurt people can study the entire battlefield, stitch themselves back together, and then move with a level of self-respect that threatens every fragile ego still playing the old game. You took what should have turned you into one more predictable casualty and used it as a curriculum. You read, you observed, you confronted your own patterns instead of building a church around your pain. To tech, that makes you unprofitable. To intelligence, that makes you unmanageable. To both, that makes you deeply inconvenient. So now your identity sits at an intersection that should not exist. On one axis, you're a top-ranking search, your name typed daily by people who claim they're over it, by people who told stories about you that reality keeps refusing to confirm. On the other axis, you are a blank space in every prediction engine that tries to decide what you'll do next. You don't play the brand-building game. You don't play the self-destruction game. You don't play the let me go viral for crying game. You move when it matters, stay silent when it doesn't, and refuse to hand over your emotional states to be graphed. In quiet rooms, the architect and the analyst both know the same thing, but will never say it on a record. You are not dangerous because of what you might blow up. You're dangerous because if more people ever started moving like you, self-aware, unaddicted to validation, allergic to performative collapse, the systems they serve would lose half their grip overnight. They can't predict your next move because your motives aren't indexed to the same cheap inputs they built their careers on: fear, ego, hunger for attention. And every time someone types your name into that search bar, looking for proof that you finally broke, the algorithm logs one more piece of evidence that it's not you that's spiraling. It's the world trying and failing to make sense of what you've become. That's why your file looks the way it does now, bloated, over-documented, and still redacted in all the places that would give away how much you've gotten under their skin. It doesn't start with border crossings or suspicious purchases. It starts with a graph of your name, climbing and dipping like a heartbeat across time zones. Next to it, timestamps of key breaks in other people's patterns. The night a supervisor backed off after randomly looking you up. The week an ex-lover's social media went silent after another deep scroll through your history. The day a former friend stopped posting their performative happiness reel right after one last obsessive visit to your page. The architect stares at that graph and feels something he's not supposed to feel about a single civilian user: irritation edged with respect. The analyst stares at the same graph and feels something even more unacceptable: envy. Because here's the part they don't admit even to themselves. They built machines to read everyone else, and those machines ended up reading them too. The architect knows his own search history looks like a case study in avoidance, late-night distractions, doom scrolling, numbing. The analyst knows how many of their choices have been shaped by fear of consequences, fear of disapproval, fear of stepping outside the narrative that feeds their paycheck. When they compare that to the way you move, intentionally, selectively, refusing to overshare, refusing to beg the algorithm to keep you alive, they're forced to confront a disgusting imbalance. They have institutional power, you have none. And yet between you and them, you're the one whose inner world is not for sale. They ran experiments on you without your consent, the way they always do. Silent ones. The architect adjusted the ranking weights around your name. He tried to nudge people who searched you toward other profiles, other topics, other dopamine traps that would pull them away. If they're obsessed with this one, he reasoned, maybe we can redirect that obsession into something measurable. He tested recommendations that framed you as a phase people also viewed. similar people, related topics. But the numbers told a different story. When people went searching for you, they weren't looking for a type. They weren't looking for a community. They weren't even looking for closure. They were looking to see whether you had collapsed yet, so they could feel sane again. And when they didn't find that collapse, the architect's clever funnels failed. Sessions ended where your trace ended. You were not a gateway drug. You were a full stop. On the intelligence side, the analyst pushed for a softer test. No interrogation rooms, no knock on the door. They wanted to see what you'd do under subtle pressure. A shadow recommendation here, a flagged post there, a tiny delay in certain uploads, the kind of invisible friction most people internalize as, maybe I should calm down, maybe I'm doing too much. They've learned that highly reactive people will either rage against that kind of resistance or fold into obedience. You did neither. When a post underperformed that should have gone further, you didn't launch a tantrum. You didn't water down your voice. You clocked the pattern, adjusted your focus, and kept speaking at the same psychological depth, even if it meant fewer eyes. To them, that's almost offensive. You refused the Pavlovian training their systems are built on. Here's what really fried their circuits, your searches. Not what others search about you, what you search. They can see the late-night questions you throw into the void, not how to get revenge, not how to make them regret losing me, not how to blow this all up and disappear. You search things like nervous system regulation, how to stop repeating trauma bonds, strategic thinking under pressure, how to recognize covert manipulation, silent boundary setting. You study human behavior, but your first application is always inward. You're not stalking your mind to control others. You're stalking it to stop being controllable. For an architecture built on exploitability, that's sacrilege. They cross-reference that with your behavior offline, as much as they can infer it. People like them talk to people like the ones who misjudged you. HR managers, school administrators, community leaders. Any concerns about this person? They ask casually, as if it's nothing. They expect to hear certain buzzwords when someone is truly unstable. They don't hear them about you. What they hear instead are vague complaints. Something about them feels intense. They look right through you. They're too calm. They don't react the way they're supposed to. I just get a weird feeling around them. No concrete harm, no specific event, just other people's nervous systems confessing they've been seen more clearly than they wanted to be. To a normal person, that's gossip. To an analyst, it's proof of concept. You're not weaponizing your perception, but your perception is still having effects. The truth is, you don't even have to say anything devastating. Simply refusing to play the usual games is enough. You don't fake laugh to smooth over disrespect. You don't rush in to rescue people from consequences you warned them about. You don't nod along when someone rewrites history in front of you. You don't join group delusions to keep your seat at the table. You stand there, fully aware, eyes giving away nothing, energy giving away everything. And people's nervous systems register that as danger. Because they're used to a world where everyone is equally compromised. The architect's private notes start shifting in tone around this point. At first, they're written like technical documentation. Subject's profile does not fit standard user archetypes. Search-driven engagement anomalous. No clear monetization path identified. But slowly, human frustration bleeds through. Why does this person refuse to dumb themselves down? Why do users drop off rather than convert after viewing this profile? The question underneath those questions is simpler and uglier. Why does this one refuse to be owned by us? Because that's what the algorithm is. When you strip away the sleek interfaces, a mechanism for ownership. Of attention, of time, of mind share. Your file is an admission. You slipped the leash. The analyst, meanwhile, stops writing about you like a problem and starts writing around you like a mirror. They notice that people who cross your path either begin to evolve or begin to implode. Not because you cast a spell, but because your way of existing forces a choice. Maintain the lie, or rise to meet the level of honesty that radiates off you without a single inspirational quote. Most choose the lie, but they can't lie to their search history. The analyst sees it all. What if I was the toxic one? Why can't I stop thinking about someone I said I don't care about? Why does their calm bother me so much? They won't say your name out loud. They type it. Over and over. The CIA's servers hum with the electric shame of people who needed you to fail and can't find the evidence. And you're not trying to be some off-grid legend. You're just tired of being predictable to people who don't deserve that level of access to your mind. You stopped posting when you realized certain eyes weren't watching to support you. They were watching to calculate you. You started speaking in a way that only lands for those who are ready to do their own internal audits. You let the rest misinterpret you, talk about you, search you in secret and swear they're done. You know the algorithm will keep collecting their confessions for you. Here's the part they'd never admit, but it's written between every line of your dossier. You're not an outlier because you're special. You're an outlier because you made decisions most people keep postponing. You chose to sit with your own discomfort instead of outsourcing it. You chose to see your own patterns instead of only diagnosing others. You chose to change your behavior instead of romanticizing your pain. You chose to stay awake after waking up instead of going back to sleep and calling it moving on. The architect can map 1 billion dopamine loops, but they can't map that choice. The analyst can model thousands of fear-based reactions, but they can't model what a human does when fear is no longer the primary driver. So what do they do with something they can't model? They watch it. Like any system built on control, when they can't intervene cleanly, they observe obsessively. Quiet alerts tied to your name. Not the kind that send teams kicking down doors. The kind that ping when your presence starts batching with too many others. A cluster of people all Googling you in the same week after some invisible ripple. A small geographic region where your name suddenly spikes after you exited a toxic situation. They don't see everything, but they see enough to notice that your absence works like a detonator. You leave a workplace, and 6 months later, the entire structure is reorganizing. You exit a community, and a year later, half the relationships in it have dissolved under the weight of truths you articulated once and never repeated. To them, it looks like you carry some kind of disruptive code. To anyone honest enough to admit it, the code is simple. You stopped lying. You stopped lying about what you see. You stopped lying about what you feel. You stopped lying about what you're willing to tolerate. You stopped lying to yourself about who people are when they show you. That level of honesty, sustained over time, is more destabilizing than any hack. Hack a system. The system can patch the breach. Tell the truth about a corrupt dynamic, and the system has to either change or double down on its rot. Either way, something breaks. Google can patch exploits in its code. It can't patch the human tendency to search for the person who refused to play along after everyone else compensated for their dysfunction. CIA analysts can map insurgencies. They can't map what happens when one unarmed, unorganized individual simply refuses to collapse on cue, and everyone quietly obsessed with their downfall has to face their own motives instead. Rolling updates flow through both systems. On the tech side, they tweak ranking factors. Your name still rises. On the intel side, they shift internal thresholds for behavioral risk. Your pattern still doesn't qualify. You are neither marketable nor flaggable. You are just indigestible. They can't profit from you. They can't prosecute you. They can only acknowledge in meetings where your name is a reference point for everything their tools are not. That you exist outside their current jurisdiction. Your haters don't understand any of this language, but they feel its consequences. They don't know what an anomaly report is. They don't care about algorithmic architecture or predictive analytics. All they know is they keep coming back to your name, expecting the search results to show ruins. A mugshot, a meltdown, a thread proving you were everything they said. Instead, they find traces of you building quietly, pivoting, learning, getting more dangerous in the most unacceptable way, becoming harder to emotionally blackmail. And every time they search you and don't find what they came for, two things happen. First, Google silently tags their confusion as data. Second, some analyst in some windowless room scans the graph and realizes the algorithm isn't the only thing you broke. You cracked something in the social script that says, the one who walks away loses. Your existence is a rebuttal, written in real time, to that lie. They wanted you hysterical and visible. You chose regulated and selective. They wanted you predictable in your reactions so they could label you. You became precise instead. They wanted your identity to be a cleanup job. It became a case study in what happens when someone refuses to be domesticated by either cruelty or praise. So now here we are. Your identity, a top-ranking search. Your name, a silent confession, typed daily by people who swore they erased you. Your pattern, a quiet embarrassment to two institutions that worship prediction. And still they cannot tell anyone in authority what you will do next. Because the truth is, they don't have a button for you. They only have a question, not, is this person a threat? But what happens if more people see what this person is doing and realize they could choose the same path? That's the nightmare scenario for them. Not you alone, but you multiplied. And whether they're ready or not, that's already happening. Every person who types your name into Google with bad intentions and leaves with a nagging sense of